Hi Capricorn, and welcome to your December 2024 horoscope. 2025 is just around the corner. Therefore, I have opened up my books for a year ahead reading. I do only have 5 spots available and they're at a highly discounted price. So if you want to make sure you snag one up, then go ahead and check out the link in the description box and in the comments. We start off the month on December 1st with a new moon in Sagittarius. The new moon takes place in your 12th house, which means that you're starting a new chapter with your spirituality. If you want to dive in more into what this new moon means for you, I'll leave this dedicated new moon horoscope video that I made not too long ago. A couple of days later, on December 4th, the sun will square Saturn. For you, this is affecting your 12th and 3rd houses. You might feel that even though you just started this new adventure, this new chapter with your spirituality, that just a couple of days later on the 4th, that you feel blocked in some way. Perhaps you're not able to act or carry out on the ideas that you had just yet. There seems to be a roadblock in the way. Keep in mind that there is still a way to get there. You might just need to take a detour and you might need to be patient. This transit doesn't last very long, so therefore I don't think the block will be anything major. On December 6th, we have Mars going retrograde. Mars is going retrograde in your 8th house. Do keep in mind, though, that as it moves backwards, it will also end up entering your 7th house. So the themes of both of these houses will come up during this retrograde. What this retrograde will mean for you, Capricorn, is that until February 2025, you might be feeling quite frustrated with your partnership and specifically with being open, honest, and vulnerable with your partner. You might find that you want to take certain actions to start doing that. You might take certain actions to incorporate a new habit or a new routine with your partner, but somehow something stops it every time. Do be very patient with yourself. It can be quite a frustrating transit, the Mars retrograde. And do keep in mind that it is just for a season. Once February comes around, you should see yourself being able to take some actions and steps with your partnership that are much more productive. The next day, on December 7th, Venus enters the sign of Aquarius and it conjuncts Pluto. On that same day, the Sun opposes Jupiter. Because both the good planets, Venus and Jupiter, are in these challenging aspects, this day might feel a little bit tough. Particularly for you, Capricorn, you might be facing some challenges with your health or with your day-to-day routine. Maybe it's very difficult to get inspired in that area of your life, to keep a regular routine for yourself. And as a result, you end up needing to dig deep into your own self-respect and self-love for yourself. You need to dig deep into what does it mean to you to love yourself, to respect yourself, and why do you even have those emotions towards yourself? And honestly, this connection makes sense. One of the major ways that we show up for ourselves with love and take care of ourselves is by maintaining a good routine, giving ourselves sleep, feeding ourselves good food, maintaining a hygiene. So we start to see that these struggles that you might be having in your routine are reflecting into a more fundamental sort of existential crisis about what even self-love and self-care means to you. The next day, on December 8th, Neptune goes direct in your 3rd house. This could mean that you are starting to feel a much more calm, a much more a pleasant viewpoint of your communication style, of the way you communicate, the way you share your opinions with others. Usually while Neptune is retrograde, we tend to have the veil lifted and we start to look very realistically, but also very harshly on the way we communicate, maybe a bit judging. Now that Neptune is direct, you might find yourself much more loving towards your way of communicating, much more accepting of it as well. A couple of days later, on December 12th, Venus opposes Mars. With this opposition, you might find yourself feeling like you're torn in two different directions. For you specifically, those two directions are wanting to take care of yourself, wanting to be independent, self-sufficient. This part of you that feels like, well, I don't need anybody to take care of me. I know I got my own back. And then this other part of you that is maybe just saying like this childlike tantrum that is just like, but I want somebody. I don't care that I know I can take care of myself. Literally, I want to have a partnership. I want to have somebody where I can tell my deepest, darkest thoughts to it. I want to be able to rely on somebody. And I'm not sort of speaking in that voice to make fun of it. I think both of these are very important parts of life. But on this day with this opposition, you might especially feel the pull, the tension between the two. Then we get to the middle of the month on December 15th, where we have a full moon in Gemini. This full moon happens in your 6th house, Capricorn. So you will be reaping the benefits of what you sowed when it comes to your health. If you have been acting aligned, listening to your body and taking good care of yourself, you will start to see positive manifestations of that. If you haven't, if you've been maybe following the routines of others, not what feels good to you, then you will also start to see the consequences of that. Keep in mind that I do post dedicated full moon videos closer to each full moon. So if you want to catch that more detailed horoscope, make sure you subscribe. A couple of days later, on December 20th, we have Venus trining Jupiter. For you, this is affecting your 2nd and 6th house. This is finally a more positive aspect. We don't have a lot of those this month. And what we see happening is that this more philosophical, existential reflection you've been doing about self-respect and self-love has a positive effect on your health and your routine. Perhaps you've been having some realizations about how you can love yourself better, how you can show up for yourself better, and now you're ready to implement them into actual actions. The next day, on the 21st of December, the sun enters Capricorn, or your 1st house. In general, from the 21st onwards, you should be feeling a little bit more alive, a little bit more excited to get out of bed. And you might especially feel rejuvenated to set boundaries for yourself, to really make sure that you're treated with respect and honored as your own individual. We're almost there. We have just 3 more transits to go in the month of December. One of them is a square between Jupiter and Saturn, which happens on December 24th. We have had this square happen before, but now because the planets have been retrograding, we have it happening again. For you, this is highlighting your 3rd and 6th house. There are many ways this square can manifest for you, Capricorn. One of the ways is that there's something in your local surroundings that's holding you back from starting this new health routine, this new day-to-day routine. It could be, your neighbors or your siblings that are influencing you in a different way. Maybe you would like to go to CrossFit, but unfortunately the CrossFit gym close to you closed, something along those lines. Then we get to December 28th, when we have a square between Venus and Uranus. With Uranus in your 5th house for the last couple of years, you've been figuring out how to express yourself in a unique way. not in a way that society expects you to, but in a way that you would like to. Almost getting in touch with that inner child and what they would like to say or do. But now that we have this square between Uranus and Venus, you might find that this unique way of expressing yourself is somehow at a tension with your finances. You know, maybe you figured out with the last couple of years that parties are really important to you. Socialization is really important to you. Having really good food is important to you. Not something society defines to you, but really your own definition of self-expression and pleasure. But you might find that that is maybe draining your finances or making things a little bit challenging from a financial standpoint. Do keep in mind this is just one way this could manifest, but in general, there's a tension between your self-expression and your finances. And finally, we close off the month on December 30th with a new moon in the sign of Capricorn, which is your sign. So this could be quite an important new moon for you, Capricorn, and it means you're starting a new chapter of your identity. It means that you are starting a new chapter where you can set more clear boundaries and establish yourself as your own individual that deserves respect and honor. So that's it, Capricorn. That's what you can expect for the month of December. Overall, we looked at a couple of main themes. One was definitely your routines and specifically your health. And then, of course, we took a look at your finances, your local surroundings, the way you communicate, and then, of course, making sure that you set boundaries and you stand firm in being your own individual. Thanks for joining me, Capricorn. Don't forget that my books are open for the 2025 year ahead readings. There are only 5 available, so if you want to snag one up, then make sure you click on that link down in the comments or in the description box. I hope to see you again soon.